Okay, we're live.
Yay.
We'll do it live.
Ugh.
Okay, welcome to the third official episode. I'm calling the first episode 0
Okay.
of episode 3 of the Jeckyllcast. And now we have this time we have the universal co-host Kevin Faulkner.
Hey, I'm Kevin Faulkner. I am the co-host for both Gaijin Show with Zeke Freak and Otaku Midnight with Cube the Third. And now I'm
Oh,
on here.
okay, cool.
I'm just a
And
guest. I'm not going to be like a regular or anything. Like I'll be on here a couple times. I don't know.
yeah, well, here's the thing. I generally invite people on if it's like one of the shows they really like.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I both now that you're on this episode, I've invited you and Zeke Freak on both. For example, if I was doing a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, I'd probably leave you out,
Yeah.
and if I was doing, say, a JoJo's or a Pretty Cure episode, I wouldn't invite Zeke.
Yeah.
But first, now that you're here, we have to go through the rules of the Jeckyllcast.
Okay.
One, the rule one, the episode involved is Gurren Laggan. Two, no excessive profanity, please. I don't want to have to edit out much.
Yeah. Okay. It's good that you said that because I have a tendency to swear a lot. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I am a potty mouth. Uh, go on.
Okay. Three, no excessive politics.
Yeah, I that's just something I do generally. So yeah.
Yeah. By this, what I mean is, um, well, I understand, especially some works of shows require some political analysis. For example, if we were doing, uh, which, for example, Princess Mononoke, we're going to involve the environment, but
Yeah.
just don't turn it into a BuzzFeed article.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to turn what they're doing into a BuzzFeed article.
Let's see. And fourth rule, I think I'm keeping all the rules so far. Fourth rule, Kevin, believe in
Yes.
yourself. Not the you that believes in Kamina. Not the Kamina that believes in you, but the Simon that believes in you.
Simon or Simone or
Yeah.
Simone or however the hell you want to say his goddamn name.
Okay.
I believe I believe when ADV Films was doing their dub of the series, which never got released, sadly,
Yeah.
uh, it was explained by Matt Greenfield that they were going to just call him Simon to sort of sidestep the whole pronunciation debate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pronunciation's kind of wonky, especially if we're going through multiple languages. I generally either like to go original, or if although there's some cases that make sense to change stuff. Like I remember there was a show Princess Tutu.
Yeah,
They changed the main character's name.
Ahiru.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
but
changed her name
yeah,
to Duck as a straight translation,
yeah, but
and
it makes sense.
it did because she's literally a duck. But
Oh yeah, and it's not like the way I thought about it, it's like it's not like, oh, your name's Willow from because you're from a willow tree. It's like calling them chair because they came from a chair. So Kevin, what are you up to?
Not been doing a whole lot as of late. On Tuesday, I'm going to be doing an episode of Otaku Midnight, where one of the topics we're going to be talking about is regarding the upcoming movie Batman: The Killing Joke, which
Oh,
is
okay.
which is part of the DC animated original movies. I'm really looking forward to that, largely because on top of it being a very influential story in the DC universe, it is also going to be the very first R-rated Batman movie to be released. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion regarding that.
Oh, yes.
And you're probably aware of this because you sent a question to me, but um, at the beginning of this month, over on Otaku Midnight, we had an interview with Kira Vincent Davis, and that's on SoundCloud if anyone's interested.
Cool.
Just search Otaku Midnight. We're the only ones there.
Okay.
And aside from that, not a whole lot. Life has been pretty calm and uneventful, which is how I prefer it.
Yep, that's pretty good. And let's see. Let's see what have I been doing. I haven't been doing much since this is the first episode of the podcast. And what? How many months? Wait, no,
Over 9,000.
no. I don't think I lived 9,000 months, but in 8 months. No, 7 months.
Oh,
7
jeez.
months ago is when I did the Seven Deadly Sins podcast with Zeke.
Oof. That was a while ago. That's only a couple months after I started doing Bakugaijin and Otaku Midnight. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
while ago.
I had stuff going on. I had to move and whatnot, but you at home probably don't care about that.
No, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with a
Yeah,
little
that's
small talk.
not like you don't care at all, but it's not like, oh, I wonder what's happening to Jekyll Geek, because no, I've just
No,
been
no, it's nice to know what my friends are up to.
okay. And of course, we have the new season of anime, and let's see. I think you're watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Absolutely.
Yep, and the new season of Sailor Moon.
Yeah, but I need to watch episode 3. Haven't gotten around to that.
Okay, but you've seen the episode 4 of JoJo's with "Was company till the day I die."
I saw someone tweet, man, Crunchyroll's stand translation have gone from bad to worse.
Well, crazy on you, shining diamond.
uh, we love you, Crunchyroll.
Well, yeah,
If it weren't for you guys, this series would not be in America at all.
yeah, and yeah, JoJo's. If you haven't seen it, and if if you're the kind of person that likes Gurren Laggan, you should see this. But I think the way I explained JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to most people, it's like imagine like your old Saturday morning cartoons, like they were a unhealthy cereal with, like the kind that tries to trick you into candies for breakfast.
Yeah.
Imagine having that, and then realizing as an adult you can pour sugar on that cereal. And since it's anime instead of actual cereal, that doesn't count as it won't give you cavities or diabetes. That's my explanation of JoJo's.
For the first few parts, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying
Have you read any of the manga?
no?
Okay.
Actually, I think I might have read a couple chapters, but that was Stardust Crusaders. So
Yeah. Beginning with part 4, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does improve drastically from parts 1 through 3.
okay. Although it was still very good to begin with,
Oh, absolutely.
unless you're a dog.
Fun fact, Araki hates dogs. Actually, he loves dogs. The reason why
Oh,
he has the bad guys kill dogs in his works is to show how bad they are.
oh
Because it's
yes,
like, how could you kill this poor innocent puppy?
oh yes. They gone from kick the dog to set the dog on fire on episode 1.
Or eat the dog in Diamond is Unbreakable's case.
Oh yes,
Freaking
that
Angelo.
yeah. Well, that guy's only a minor villain,
Still.
but let's see. And yes, we're saying what I consider the most one of the most pivotal seasons of Sailor Moon.
Yes, the Deathbusters arc.
Yes, especially if you're either a Yuri fan or
Oh my
you,
god.
you know
Fucking
the what?
they for this season of Sailor Moon Crystal, they managed to make it even gayer than Takeuchi originally made it. Sailor Moon, make it gayer.
Well, that or you know about the old theory about Sailor Saturn.
Uh, Refresh my memory.
Okay, where the etymology of the term moe came from.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that. I don't think that's the case. I think that's been debunked a number of times.
Well, okay. Although she does fit the bill.
She does. She does. She totally does. She's adorable.
Yes. And she turns out being Chibiusa's morality pet as well.
Just a bit.
Yeah. No, it's my opinion of the character kind of improved this season. Although I remember the funniest thing about Sailor Moon S, which is the final episode, where, well, after the big conflict is over, and the thing is, Sailor Moon and or Mamoru were telling Chibiusa that she had to go back to her parents.
But you are my parents, technically. So I'm
Yeah.
staying with you.
Yes, indeed. Um. So.
A lot of people really hate Chibiusa as a character. I like her. I find her brattiness endearing,
Oh
personally.
yeah.
Then of course you have my friend Allison, who just keeps calling her a little. Lay off. Eh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The spore.
so
Okay. Let's see what I'm following. I'm also following JoJo's, of course. Um. About two or three other shows I'm really liking. One called Ray Zero. It's guy trapped in a fantasy world, but as they say, there's only two stories. A stranger comes to town, and a guy goes on a journey. But it's one that I find it a bit slightly a bit smarter than the average show of its type. Since whenever the guy dies, he respawns at the when he first entered the world.
Yeah.
And I'm also following Joker Game, which is a show set in the early uh, World War II about a spy agency.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of it has to do with just the mindset of the spy characters, and now they're actually kind of slightly alien to our own. Kevin, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening.
Okay. Okay, and but yeah, those are some of the shows I'm liking. I'm also seeing the first couple of episodes of Kisnaiver, and that looks pretty interesting.
I really need to get it to get to that because I've heard Neon and a couple of my other friends really gushing about it, saying that this is something that they've been wanting from Trigger for a while now, and I'm like, ooh, I should check it out, but I am a lazy shit.
Yes.
I am extremely lazy, but yeah, I do need to check out Kizarino.
Yeah. Kiz. I'm. Yeah, I think people stumble over that pronunciation quite a bit. But now that we've gotten the stuff out of the way, I generally don't like to talk about anime news unless it's like earth shaking because listening to this let's say you listen to this podcast about a month in the future, you won't
Yeah.
care.
Yep.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's start with our regular scheduled topic.
Oh boy.
Or actually, let's just take a 1 minute break.
All right. I'm gonna go get some soda.
Oh, I already thought of that soda idea. So
All right.
okay, so we're both ready and sodaed up.
One moment, please. Proceed.
Okie dokie. So, what was your soda of choice this
What?
lovely day?
What?
What was
My
your
soda
soda
of
of
choice.
choice?
I had Dr. Pepper earlier, but now I'm having Pepsi.
Ah, whereas I'm a Coke Zero kind of guy.
Honestly, my favorite cola is actually RC cola.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of hard to find.
Oh, it's really easy to find over in California.
Ah, whereas I live in Western Washington, where it's not all that common.
Yeah, it's more of a West Coast thing.
I live in Western Washington.
Well, like what, like West Coast, Southern area, California, sort of thing.
Okay, like, yeah, I can almost see well, a couple blocks I can see the start of the Pacific Ocean from my house. Well, not technically my house, but
Oh yeah, I have also been uh, into Game Grumps and Ninja Sex Party lately.
ah,
Mostly Ninja Sex Party because I never thought that I would be. Uh, I never thought that I would like songs about dicks so much. like
and
like
when you,
like Danny actually does describe it as he makes songs about dicks for a living now.
yeah, his horn is his strength, and his strength is his power. His power is his horn, and his horn is his dick.
Yes.
From
I think like
Dog
half
the
this.
Unicorn Wizard.
Yes. I honestly haven't listened to that one very much. My favorites are probably The Decision, the NSP theme song, uh, Cookies, um, If We Were Gay, and
Mostly Ninja
uh,
Brian.
FYI, I want to F your A. Ninja Brian's pretty great. He Brian has the dad glare.
Yes.
You know that glare your dad gives you, that disapproving glare of don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't, how dare you? Don't do it. Don't you dare.
Oh, let's see.
Then again, it helps that he actually is a dad and has a daughter,
Okay.
so he probably uses that on her a lot.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I've watched some game rubs, not too, not a lot. And my favorite's Ross.
God damn it, Ross. My favorite's Danny. Definitely Danny.
Oh yeah, he's not so grump.
He's just so amazingly chill, and I love it. He also has a bunch of crazy ass stories he keeps telling.
Oh yeah.
Like the story of a crackhead walking into the CVS and going, "Hey, yo, where the pussy products at?"
Oh jeez.
But we gonna move on, or
Yep. Okay, we'll move on. Enough about Danny Sexbang.
we are
Although
ninja sex party.
I did see a Danny cosplayer at the latest SacraCon I went to.
That must have been weird.
Yep.
Like cosplaying a real person. That's a bit weird.
Yep. Okay, but enough about the grumps.
It's like walking up to somebody. Hey, what are you going at as this convention? I'm your hopes and dreams. I don't know.
Well, the thing is that you can kind of tell because it's this stage uniform, which I'm pretty much guessing he doesn't wear a
Oh,
blue
that like
leotard.
yeah, that Super Grover leotard. I believe I
Okay.
heard I believe actually heard a story. I think it was while they were playing. I think it was between Barry and Brian, where Brian was telling a story about how his daughter, which they call Ninja Audrey, how Ninja Audrey pointed it at a plushie of Super Grover and said, "Danny."
Oh, but enough about more popular YouTube channels than ours.
Sad face. A
Well,
tear
it's kind of
rolls
hard.
down my face.
Well, they put out more content, and they're good enough for us to talk about, and
They're
without
too
us,
good for us.
yes, yeah, it's good for us because
Anyway,
it's to the actual topic.
Gurren Lagann, yes.
Yes.
How did you uh, find out about this series?
Let's see. I think I was probably a regular seasonal viewer in 2007, so I knew about it. I think I got the DVDs from Bandai when they came out.
Like the sub only version, or
Yeah,
yeah.
but how did you find out about the series?
I was in middle school at the time, and it was about 2008, and I had just found out about Sci-Fi Channel's Anna Monday block,
Oh,
and I saw that they were going to be playing this new show called Gurren Lagann. I was just like, huh, that's a weird ass name. So uh, I actually ended up getting really obsessed with Gurren Lagann when it was airing. They aired like 2 episodes a week, and me and my friend Marcel, we were both like crazy into the show.
oh yeah, it's a very hype.
And
The
and
show
if
hypes you up.
yeah, and if one of us missed an episode, we would fill each other in on the episode and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Cute.
And because Gurren Lagann has an odd number of episodes, instead of playing 2 episodes and then playing the final episode the next week, it was actually kind of awesome that they just ran all 3 final episodes in one night. I was just like,
Oh,
ooh, I'm staying up late tonight. And that was
yeah,
pretty great.
yeah. The thing is, it was like the average show was 20. A lot of shows were 24 or 26 episodes long, but
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann was 27. It's like
Mostly because there was a clip show in the middle of the series.
what?
Mostly because there was a clip show in the middle of the series.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, between the
but
times.
the way I thought it is like this show goes to 11.
But as far as clip shows go, that's actually a really well done clip show.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I did not mind that clip show existed because it was pretty well done. It wasn't
Okay.
just cliff notes, a complete cliff notes version of the first half of the show. It was a little bit like that, but it also served as sort of thematic bridging between the two halves of the show.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I remembered fifth rule. We will divide this podcast into 3 segments. We are now on the second segment, actually talking about the show. But the second segment is try to be spoiler free as possible. And
Yeah.
when we get to the third segment, we can talk about spoilers.
Spoiler City. Uh,
Oh yes.
yeah, with Gurren Lagann, it's a little difficult because the spoilers show up kind of early.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big one about a third way in the show.
Yeah. Shit. My tablet fell over. Uh, but so, how do we start?
Okay. Well, I
This is
guess we'll
this
start
this
at the
this is
beginning.
like the second most awkward podcast episode I've been on.
Oh, what was the most?
Uh, probably probably our most recent episode of Bakagaijin show, where half of it was just Zeke spamming memes over the microphone.
Yeah. How dank were those memes?
Pretty sorry. Pretty dank.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of just dropping the profanity rule since I'm pretty much the only person who obeys it.
Sorry, I slipped up a bit. Don't worry, it won't happen again. Won't happen again.
Oh, okay. No, and but let's see what. Okay, the start at the beginning. We are in a tunnel, actually an underground tunnel, with a little boy named Simon or Simon or however.
Raven Simone.
Yes,
A little boy named Raven Simone.
yes. Who likes to? Well, I don't think. I'm not sure how much he likes to at first, but he tunnels because that's what you do when you live underground.
Yeah, you dig a tunnels, help the village expand, and when you do good work, you get fed.
Yes, and this boy named
That's in hindsight, Jiha Village is kind of a slave village.
yeah, it's pretty.
It's very underplayed in the show, but it's kind of a slave village.
Oh yeah, well, especially since they leave spectacularly leave it in the first episode. So, but yeah, it's although I was thinking, I know that I said spoilers, but I'll leave it at. Yeah, it's kind of. I'm not sure how much I really call it slavery, but it's not like Simon likes his life down there.
No, no, he's clearly he clearly wants to do something better with his life,
Hmm.
which is why he goes with Kamina and you know does all the crazy adventures with him.
Yes, and Kamina is his big bro who also lives in the village. I'm not sure they're probably not actually blood relations, but
Yeah,
Simon's parents are dead. So
they're not blood related. It's specifically mentioned in the beginning of the first episode that he doesn't have any siblings, but Kamina is like, nah, we're siblings of the spirit, brother.
mhm. Yes, but one day while tunneling, Simon finds something that looks like a face and little like a conal key that fits into something in the face.
Yep.
Yep. And that will turn out important when a big thing comes crashing down from above,
Mm-hmm.
namely a gunman or one of the enemy mechs of the show,
Yeah.
along with the.
One of the big things that I like about Gurren Lagann is that the designs of the gunmen are very they aren't uniform. There are very many different unique designs for the gunmen.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
you have one
That's
that looks like you have one that looks like a friggin' crescent moon. You have another one that looks like a giant gorilla.
yeah one that looks like a star. It's
There's one that's like a giant like friggin' 30 segmented Dharma.
oh yeah. It's trying to get up to my anime list for more information. Well,
I've seen Gurren Lagann a million times. I know it pretty much by heart. You there, bro? Bro? Son of a bitch. Ugh, God damn it. Hold on. Sorry, I cut out there for a second. Dude. Son of a bitch. Dude, I can't hear you. Dude. Dude. Fuck. I swear to God, people, this does not happen often. Shit. Well, Jack Hogek. John. Dude. Oh. There you are. You there?
Yeah, I'm back.
There you go. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, my internet got connected for about a minute.
Yeah, I thought it was something on my end, so I backed out and went back in.
Okay. Yeah, but let's see, where were we? Oh, yes, the logon.
Log on, yes.
It's like the own little dinky head-sized mech, which is like, it's like, think about it, it's like the size of a smart car or something.
It kind of like it looks a little bit like MODOK, but without legs in it, but without arms and legs. Well,
Yeah,
actually, it does have arms. Actually, it does have arms and legs. Now that I think about it, it's basically MODOK.
yeah,
It's MODOK with a canopy, but
yeah. Let's see, it'd be Moda. Uh, it's like something designed only for awesome.
mental organism designed only for awesomeness.
Yeah,
No,
mechanical or
mechanical organism designed only for awesomeness. Okay.
okay, but yes, we find the login that can actually move when Simon puts his little spiral key into there. And beats up the gunman. And in the process, oh yes, also
They meet a they meet a fan service chick named Yoko.
yes, they do. Although there's two things. One thing you notice, like when they're flying up, pretty much everyone is kind of bare chested.
uh
Yeah, I always like assumed it was just hot where they lived. But yes, Yoko is the fan service chick of the show. But she's
yeah,
also awesome.
yeah. I mean, it's not like there's exclusively Yoko fan service. There's some stuff for the female viewers too,
Oh yes,
and of course men of that particular persuasion.
indeed. But Yoko, she who's also a sniper, shows up in they head up. They end up going to the surface in the middle of at the end of the fight
They
because
meet and they meet up with Yoko's fellow uh, friends from the village that she used to be in,
mhm,
and they all begin a fight against the gunman.
yes. And why are the gunmen? Why are they fighting the gunmen? because the gunmen are piloted by beast people who let me beast people who are set to try to destroy or keep humanity all underground by the by their evil mastermind, Lord Genome.
Actually, actually, his full name is actually Lord Genome, just
Yeah.
one word.
Oh yeah.
So it's not Lord Genome, it's Lord Genome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be like if you were
I told
King.
you I'm really big into Gurren
Oh
Lagann.
yes. Yeah, I remember that. It'd be like if you were like King Kevin and it was like King was your first name.
Yeah. Anyway.
But let's see. They meet up with the as they adventure. Their party becomes a bit larger. Um, in the movie version, this is mostly skipped over.
Yeah, it's shown exclusively through a montage. Probably because they were trying to show as little of the absolute worst animated episode of the show as possible. I believe that was like episode 5. I want to say 5,
Yeah.
where the first few episodes tended to have a lot of guest directors for the animation direction,
Hmm.
and one of those directors gave his episode, which introduced the characters of Keaton and the Black Siblings, um, gave it a particularly uh, jerky, janky, weird-looking art style. Uh, if you've seen Beck Mongolian Chap Squad, you're probably familiar with it.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it just did not work for the type of show Gurren Lagann is,
Okay.
and it kind of started a bit of a shitstorm within Gynax.
Yeah. Oh yes. There's also one thing that happens early when they fight one of the Beastman commanders, Viral or Viral,
Viral, yeah.
is that's when something like truly crazy and understand this show is crazy.
This show is insane. This
Oh
show
yes,
is pretty nuts. This show runs on awesomeness, literally, quite literally. The universe this show exists in runs on the power of awesome.
yes. When you know what I'm referring to when
Yes,
they first.
when Gurren, which is communist mech that he steals for himself,
Yep.
and Lagan combine.
Yes. by taking log on
Kamina
the.
literally takes Lagan, which has a drill in the bottom at this point, and just rams it inside of in the top of his own gunman. It's like, there, now
Yes.
we're as tall as you.
And oddly enough, this does not just. Whereas in pretty much any other even slightly realistic show, this would have just damaged Kamina's mech a lot.
And probably would have taken his head off with it.
Yes. But they combine to
They
become the
do.
great mech Gurren Laggan.
They harness the power of the spiral and shit like that.
Yes. And let's see, I think that's
That's
as far
episode
as
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's as far as we can really get without too much spoilers.
Yep.
But yes, watch Gurren Lagann if you want a truly awesome mech show.
Yeah, because honestly, the first few episodes aren't quite indicative of how great this show becomes later.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to move on to spoiler territory now because the rest of my thought is spoilers.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Let's see.
So if you have not seen Gurren Lagann, turn the podcast off now. Go watch it. It is currently on Netflix and Hulu, and come back later.
Yes.
Okay, are you gone? Are you gone? You not here anymore? Okay, good. Moving on. Spoiler territory.
Mhm.
Honestly, the first few episodes of Gurren Lagann aren't terribly indicative of the kind of show it becomes later. There are elements that do carry over, but it kind of feels a little bit, I wouldn't say generic, but it doesn't quite have that wow factor that later episodes have. Honestly, the first moment where you realize the show is going in a direction that you normally wouldn't go with a show like this is in episode 8, where, see, at this point in the series, a bunch of people who, uh, at this point in the series, a bunch of people who have met up with Kamina and Simone and Yoko have all
Mhm.
managed to steal gunmen for themselves, and they create this little miniature army of stolen gunmen. And they decide, you know what? We are going to attack one of the main uh hold on.
Beastman generals,
Yeah, we're going to attack one of the Beastmen generals and steal his gunship.
which is a walking aircraft carrier.
The Daigunzan, which is basically a giant walking uh a giant walking battleship. Like, it is actually shaped like a battleship, like friggin' space battleship Yamato up in here.
Yeah.
And the way that they decide to do it is that they'll distract the Beastmen long enough for Lagan to attach itself to the bridge of the ship and take control of it, because Lagan has the ability to take control of other gunmen and combine with them, as is shown with Gurren and them combining to form Gurren Lagann.
Although I just thought of something. Now that we're in the spoiler territory, everyone who should be listening has already seen episode 8. So
Yeah.
okay, so your more is like your feelings on what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, in episode 8, Kamina dies.
Yes.
God, that fucked me up when I first saw it.
Oh yeah.
Mind you, I was an emotionally unstable middle schooler at the time, so I was just kind of like a blubbering mess throughout the whole episode.
Oh yeah.
My sister was there; she can vouch for me. But yeah, Kamina somehow manages to uh, hold on long enough to perform Gurren Lagann's signature finishing move. Comes up with this on the spot, mind you. Comes up with the signature finishing move, the Giga Drill Break. Defeats the general. They are able to take control of Daigunzan, but sadly, Kamina cannot hold out, and he dies. And the end of the episode just ends with the end of the episode is just completely grayscale in the rain, and we see Kamina slumped over, bloodied and dead in his cockpit, and everyone's just bawling their eyes out, including me.
Yes. And actually, I think that's part of that's a callback to an earlier show called Asha no Joe, which at the end when Joe dies, it's he turns like all white like Kamina was.
Yeah, it's definitely a reference to Tomorrow's Joe.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the entire point.
Oh yes, it's And
though it's a very poignant image,
oh
so
yes,
it definitely works in the context of Gurren Lagann.
oh yeah, it's not like, oh look, here's a meme. No, it's like this will hit you, and it
I
really hit Simon.
Yeah, Simone goes into a depression for about 2 episodes, actually,
Yeah.
2 or 3 episodes. But in uh, the following episode is basically just everybody trying to grapple with Kamina's death.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Simo's not the only one depressed. Everybody on the Daigunzan, which has been rechristened the Daiguren,
Mm-hmm.
uh, everybody on the Daiguren is just kind of put out,
Yeah.
and
Was
they're and not quite sure what to do now,
yeah, he was their
because
leader.
the person whom they considered their leader is now dead. So they're kind of figuring out how they're going to keep going, who's going to
Mm-hmm.
take over that position now, because under any normal circumstance, Simone would probably be the person who would take over at this point.
But yeah, it's the
But
thing
but
is,
but Simone was hit the hardest and is completely broken at this point.
oh yeah, he's locked himself in his room and making statues of communists. So it's yeah, the boy's not all right.
Yeah, but of course Simone is trying his damnedest. Uh, One of the people whom they came across in episode 6, Rossiu,
Yep.
um, is now the pilot of Gurren, and the two of them try to fight off some gunmen, but it doesn't exactly work off. Doesn't exactly work too well
Yeah.
because Simone is an emotional wreck,
And as
and
we learn, the power of the law gun, and often the power of a lot of
of
stuff in this show works
yeah,
on willpower,
yeah,
literally.
and it also, and how well you're able to use it heavily depends on your mental state.
Yes,
You cannot pilot a gunman while you're a complete emotional wreck.
indeed.
Particularly Logon, which literally is the one that runs the most on willpower.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Simone was able to pilot Logon in the first place back in episode 1 is because Kamina inspired him to do something larger than what he was already doing, something larger than himself.
Mm-hmm.
And with Kamina gone, there's nobody to push him forward until he meets a girl whom he finds bizarrely locked away inside of this sort of cough,
Box.
locked inside of a box. Her name is Nia,
Yes.
and she is the one who ultimately breaks Simone out of his depression,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, mentioned that Nia does have a lot of uh, Kamina's brazenness and bravery, but she's also got a lot of innocence, and she's a little clueless.
Oh yes, it's she. Yeah, when she's taken back to the bridge, it's like she announces that she's Lord Genome's daughter.
Which she totally is.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's eventually learned that despite being Lord Genome's daughter, she has been disowned
Yes.
completely, and
Hence why she was in the box.
yeah, because they were throwing her away, and Nia pretty much teaches Simone it's okay, like pretty much says, I forget her exact words, but it's something along the lines of, I know how much you loved Kamina and how much you looked up to him, but it's your job to take what he taught you and to learn from it while he's not here.
Yeah. Also, I
Basically,
think I remember is like, yeah, he was great, but remember, you're not him, and you do what you do.
yeah. So he snaps out of his depression, um, pretty much becomes an immediate total badass,
Oh,
and delivers one of the greatest speeches in the show, because Gurren Lagann is pretty much well known for its amazing inspirational speeches.
mm-hmm.
In fact, the "I'm not my bros" scene is so iconic. I have memorized it word for word.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's like the two speeches I have memorized word for word are the "I'm not my bro" speech and the entirety of the final battle in episode 27.
Wow. But yeah, that
It's like
was.
I know both of those scenes word for word, man. But he he basically declares, "I'm not Kamina. I'm not my bro. I'm me." And he pretty much saves everybody, kills another general,
Yes.
and at that point we move on to the end of the first half of the series, where Simone declares that they're going to uh, begin
Attack.
an assault on Lord Genome's palace.
Yeah, and actually looking through the show, I've noticed that pretty much everyone except for the Beastmen are named after the city that, well, the town, the hole that they're from.
Like Yoko is Yoko Littner,
Yeah, from Littner
and
Village.
yeah, or Ritona if you're a weeb, but
Yes.
it's Littner, but yeah. So fuck.
Yes, and then the assault go through the rest of the generals pretty much in short order. In
Yeah,
fact, in the movie version, they pretty much fight all the generals at once.
yeah, just one hit kill all the generals.
Oh yeah.
And Yoko actually gets a pretty badass fight scene in that one against the female general.
Oh yes.
Um, and sorry, my brain is little. My brain's a little scattered today.
And they end up assaulting Teflon and fighting Lord Genome.
And turns out Lord Genome is a hell of a lot more powerful than his generals ever were.
Oh yes.
Um,
It's like, okay, here,
Simone gets pretty much manhandled by Lord Genome.
okay, especially that one thing where Lord Genome just, I think his mech breaks down. So what does he do? He steps out, walks out, and just beats the hell out of him.
He just he completely no sells the Giga Drill Break, so
Yeah,
it's like it barely did shit. So he just ends up bare knuckle brawling with a little face mech and
yeah,
pretty much beats the living tar out of Simone.
yeah. Because
And the only reason Simone wins the fight is because of the drill key, which
hmm
was revealed to be a core drill, which has the ability to harness spiral energy, which is the power of awesomeness that this show runs on.
yes,
Spiral energy is literally the power of awesomeness.
yeah.
The
Which
more of a badass you are, the more you are able to harness spiral energy.
yeah, it's like yeah, because it's like it was like a fight between like a scrawny 13-year-old and a MM like And they made him a steroid monster.
Friggin' basically, he was basically. It's kind of like it's kind of the difference between Vern Troyer fighting John Cena.
Yeah.
But John Cena. Anyway, no, we're not memeing today. No memes. No memes. But and before Lord Genome dies, he reveals that he was actually. He hints that he was actually saving the Earth from something that's even bigger than him.
Oh yes,
Saying
when
that,
he
saying
leaves
that,
me.
saying. Now, the message he leaves is different between the TV show and the movie compilation. In
Mhm.
the TV show, he says when the 1 millionth human is born on this planet, I forget his exact wording, but basically, the stars will descend upon the Earth and destroy humanity or something like that.
Mhm.
But in the movie, he says when humanity reaches space, when
Yeah.
humanity achieves space flight. So at this point, we skip forward 7 years.
Yes, because
Uh,
everyone's figured, yay, the battle's won. Let's start building up above ground. Yeah, they managed to build a metropolis in 7 years.
which is called Communist City.
Yes.
Of course it is. Because why the fuck not? Sorry. Son
Well,
of a.
it's after the guy who saved the world's big bro, so why not?
And Simone, who throughout the entirety of the last half of the previous time frame,
Hmm.
had been slowly developing a relationship with Nia, the person who broke him out of his depression
Yeah.
in the first place. And Simone is the mayor of Communist City.
Yeah.
And of course, he has to do all this paperwork and do all this extra stuff. They have their own army of Gurren clones. I forget what those things are called.
Yeah.
And two of the small children that kind of
Gimme and Dairy.
tagged along previously, Gimme and Dari, are now pilots are now pilots and very good pilots of their own accord.
Of course.
Um, so 7 years pass, and the 1 millionth child is born on Earth,
Yes.
which happens to be the child of some secondary characters that were introduced to previously in the series. One of Keaton's siblings, and Dayaka,
Yeah.
who is a member of Littner Village,
Hmm.
and pretty much Yoko's best friend. Um, and around the same time that the 1 millionth child is born, Simone proposes to Nia. And of course, they agree to get married. But before the two of them can celebrate, something strange happens to Nia.
Oh yes, just as the proposal, and he puts the ring on her.
Yeah, just as he puts the ring on her, something goes wrong, and these weird fractal looking spaceship things crash, like just bust through the sky. Like literally, there's just this tear in the space time continuum that they come out of.
Oh yeah, and now we have
And
the.
we are introduced to the anti-spirals, the people that Lord Genome was fighting against, the reason why humanity was kept underground, to
Well,
save them.
actually, he was fighting against him for a while, but the thing is, he was set up this. Lord Jinnum set up the system he did pretty much to hide from the anti-spirals.
Mm-hmm. So, and the anti-spirals, having detected that humanity is rebuilding quite fast at that rate, because humanity was probably only a few hundred people at the beginning of the series, but
Yeah,
by the time Communist City is built, we're up to 100 people. Sorry, we're up to 1 million people in 7 years. That's pretty amazing. There
yeah.
must have been a lot of boning going on there,
Oh,
but
yeah. Well, for the for example, when the episode when they went to met Rousseau and Gimmin Dairy,
yeah,
it's
Rossio.
they explained that all the population had all the villages had strict population control.
Particularly in that village where it is a limit of 100 people.
Yes.
The moment they exceed 100 people, they basically send somebody up to the surface to die,
Yeah. But
more or
no,
less.
that's
But
no
of
longer
but of
happening.
course they do it under the guise of a religion,
Yes.
so to speak. You can look at it as you can look at it as an allegory for Christianity if you want. I personally don't, because I'm Christian, and that would be kind of shitty. But um,
I look at it as an allegory for backwards. Uh, we could explain it to any religion, just take it a certain way.
I
It's
think it's
more
more
of
point. I think it's more point. I think it's more pointing towards those people who use religion to suit their own means,
yes, and
rather than to actually, believe what they're preaching
mm,
and to better human and to better the people that follow them.
yes,
But we're not going to get too into that because that's technically speaking political.
yes.
Um,
Well, yeah, that and all. Well, it fits in the show, so
eh,
I'd say it's
only in a small sense.
yeah. I'd say it's less pointed. It was less pointed at one religion. It's more of just let's not question the world as it is.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. But
But the anti-spirals.
man, this part of the series is difficult to talk about because there's so much happening in such a short period of time.
Hmm.
Like every single episode is just so packed with content that like there are huge leaps in story and plot within a single episode. Of course, it's done extremely well. The pacing is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Like say like Imaishi did a great job directing this series. He really did.
Hmm.
This is actually what made me a fan of Gainax and Imaishi in general. So when I found out that like Imaishi was the director of Kill la Kill, I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. Actually, I think I still need to watch Kill la Kill, but oh well.
It's good. Kill la Kill doesn't. Kill la Kill starts off a bit rougher than Gurren Lagann, but uh, does have the same level of uptick in quality that Gurren Lagann had.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
so the anti-spirals show up. They fight the anti-spirals, and in Branda strokes, they cause a lot of collateral damage, and Rousseau takes over.
yeah. Yeah, and because they need somebody to point the blame at, the blame is pointed at Simone for causing all this collateral damage, potentially killing hundreds of people,
Yeah.
and basically just causing a huge mess. And Simone is sentenced to death.
Yes.
Of course, Yoko ain't having any of that shit. So she basically breaks him out, and while Simone is in prison, he meets up with Viral again. If you'll
It was,
remember, Viral was the person whom Kamina kicked the ass of way
More
back at
than
the beginning of the
once.
series. So the two of them kind of become uh, sort of battle-hardened friends, if you will. They clash, they have their disagreements, but at the end of the day, when Simone gets broken out of prison by Yoko, um, Simone basically says, "Hold on, wait a minute, free Viral too," and Viral becomes, amazingly enough, the newest pilot of Gurren,
Yep.
and is a pretty damn awesome pilot at that.
Oh yes,
Uh,
he becomes a new protagonist for the rest of the show. Well,
yeah,
not a secondary protagonist.
and he actually becomes a main character. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty much he was a primary antagonist for the first half of the series, but in the second half, he's a protagonist, and
Yeah.
it's more probably one of my favorite parts of the show. The way that Viral turns from antagonist to a protagonist, helping out the humans, and because throughout the entire series, up till this point, he's had this complete disdain for humanity,
Yeah.
saying that they're naked apes, they're dirty, they're these filthy creatures, basically just a giant racist.
Yeah. Well, he was.
Simone Simone pretty much throws this guy a bone, and Viral, who is pretty much at his wits' end at this point, it's either stay in prison and die with the rest of humanity, or actually do something with my life. He decides to, of course, go with Simone and fight against the anti-spirals, and he becomes good friends with everybody aboard. Uh,
Hmm.
so, and this is the point where Gurren Lagann starts getting insane. It turns out that the moon is a giant robot,
Oh
and
yeah.
it is being used by the anti-spirals as a sort of death weapon to destroy the Earth. Simone and Viral take control of it, combine with it to form Arc Gurren Lagann,
Yep.
and the way they get into space is via this like super galaxy dreadnought spaceship that they have, uh,
Hmm.
and uh, they utilize Arc Gurren Lagann to pretty much bust a hole in the space time continuum, uh, so that they can.
Let me stop you there, though.
At, at this point, my knowledge of Gurren Lagann becomes a little muddled a bit
Hmm.
because it's been a few years,
Oh yeah.
and the yeah. So correct me if I end up saying something dumb.
Okay. But actually, what I wanted to stop you is also it's I think at the time they figure out the moon is a giant robot. Um, that's when Rousseau sort of gives up trying to stop Simon and tries committing suicide.
Oh my god, Simone pretty much invents teleportation so he can punch Rossio in the face.
Yes, although well, he does in the
he,
TV show. It's a bit more subdued in the movies.
yeah, it's a hell of a lot more subdued in the movie. I prefer how it was done in the TV show personally,
Yeah.
because honestly, I felt that in the movie it was a bit of a tonal shift. It was a bit
Hmm.
too low. It was a bit too low key for the kind of series that Gurren Lagann is.
Yeah.
Besides, I prefer the idea that Simone invented teleportation just so he could punch Rossio across the face and say, "What the hell are you doing, idiot?"
But actually, I
In
felt.
fact, in fact, he actually repeats a line that Kamina said earlier in the series, uh, when Kamina was trying to get Simone out of a funk. Kamina punches Simone and says, "Let's see you grit those teeth." Simone says the exact same thing to Rossio.
Yeah, but I just want what I was trying to point out is that the whole notion of that scene, I think it was important because otherwise, if you tried to take it out, it would have just looked like Rossio was trying to make a naked power grab.
Yeah.
Which is actually the thing is, I find
He was trying to help humanity in the way that he thought was best, but it turns out uh, he kind of missed the point
yes,
and
uh,
ended up damning humanity more than anything else.
it's more of a look at the, and I'd say that most all the best mecha shows are not about straightforward good versus evil,
No,
and
they're not.
because and I'd put a Gurren Lagann in place in this category because all the antagonists have one
One
Simone's
thing in,
antagonists have
they all
one of.
have one thing in common in that they're doing what they think is best.
Let me explain. They all have one of two goals. One, stop Simon from trying to destroy humanity with a futile war with the anti-spirals. Or two, here's where we get the other big kicker of the show. Stop the spiral races from destroying the universe.
Yeah, the death spiral.
Yes. And you really can't really fault someone whose goal is A, stop humanity from being destroyed, or B, stop the universe from being destroyed.
Yeah.
So,
Both
Gurren
both
Lagann, I'd say it's
both
less
go
of
ahead.
less of a good versus evil conflict, and more of a hope versus despair conflict.
Yeah. And it's also a conflict of ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of the gripping elements of Gurren Lagann come from. It's what really grabs the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
They can definitely see where people like Lord Genome or the anti-spirals are coming from in regards to their personal views and what they're trying to do to uh, quote unquote save humanity.
Yeah.
They're trying to save humanity from itself. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you also see the flaws in it, in that it takes away freedom and autonomy for the human beings.
Yes.
And that's what Simone and his little ragtag group are fighting for. They're fighting for autonomy. And it's just very. And it's that particular conflict that becomes the basis of the show in the second half.
Yes. And
The
see, back to the plot. They after they find the giant moon robot, they have to go to the anti-spiral's place, which is in some odd pocket dimension.
it's actually in a it's actually an overlapping dimension that is based around the antithesis of the spiral energy.
Yes, it's not in three-dimensional space.
Yeah, it's
But they
multidimensional.
yes, where they are able to find it though because of one thing Simon did before, which is the ring he gave to Nia. Which is, even though Nia is
It
pretty
was
much an anti-spiral at this point, she is still wearing that ring.
Yeah, the ring that Simone gave to Nia basically becomes their anchoring point into the pocket dimension.
Yep. And then they go forward into
Because that is
fighting.
a small bit of spiral energy being transferred into an anti-spiral dimension.
Yes.
so they can track it easily.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then they sally forth to fight the anti-spirals and face some of their toughest uh, trials.
And the the final 4 episodes are a complete rush.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is actually the point where the Sci-Fi Channel airing kind of bungled their broadcast a bit, because they kept the opening theme, but they ended up cutting about 2 minutes of content from each episode.
Ooh.
And there is pretty much nothing inconsequential in the final 4 episodes. I was still able to follow it fine when I was
Yeah.
younger, but now I'm able to look at the old sci-fi broadcast and I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have cut that.
Yeah.
But
No, mainly what I was thinking before they actually fight the anti-spirals is they have the sort of that sort of this that super black hole that they have to Kitan has to.
yes, they basically get consumed ocean of negative energy,
Mm-hmm.
and it slowly begins to destroy the ship that they're on. And they need to somehow fire spiral missiles into the they need to fire spiral missiles into the death machine that is pulling them in. And
Mm-hmm.
none of their and because of the density the around the machine, they none of their missiles can penetrate it. During this, Simone is expending absolutely all of his energy, uh, using Arc Gurren Laggan to power the ship. The drills are breaking off in like large quantities. There's this line of broken drills lined up on the tarmac inside of the ship,
Oh yeah.
and and at the same time they're also trying to fight off uh, anti-spiral mech. And at this point in the series, a bunch of named characters die. Uh,
I
a
think
lot of a lot of major characters die here. Um,
most notably Kitan.
no, we're getting to Kitan.
Oh.
Kitan has spent the entire series sort of trying to be what Kamina is, trying to be that larger than life person uh, who is able to do things that are larger than himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees all these broken drills. He sees the despair that they're in. He sees exactly what is on the line here. So he boards his mech, the King Kitan, takes one of the broken drills, and goes out into the death machine to destroy it. And he's able to harness enough spiral energy to combine the drill with his own mech, perform a giga drill break, destroy the machine, but unfortunately, the pressure surrounding the machine is so dense that it ends up crushing him and his mech, and he dies. But but in that moment, it kind of takes his entire character arc full circle, in that he
Mm-hmm.
was able to achieve the sort of greatness that he looked up to Kamina for. And it's one of the best scenes in the entire show, if not like it is in the top 5 scenes of that show.
Oh yes.
And mind you, Gurren Lagann's got a hell of a lot of great scenes in it.
Very true.
And of course, they're able to break out of the machine. Simone is able to harness the spiral energy he needs to combine with the ship to create the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which is this badass looking thing with drills on its shoulders, and uh, pretty much just starts tearing shit up with the anti spirals. and prepares to go save Nia. Of course, utilizing her ring as the anchoring point.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I think the other trial they go with, as well as the sort of the Lotus Theater machine.
Lotus Eater Machine. Oh yeah, I forget how they get into that. Uh,
Well, it's probably just dropped on them.
yeah, they yeah. Before they're able to actually do anything in regards to saving Nia, they all of the members of Team Daigoren get trapped in what TV Tropes describes as a Lotus Eater machine, in
Mm-hmm.
which they're all. I'm not sure if it's their entire beings or if it's their entire being is basically trapped inside of this little pocket universe that is based around their own hopes, dreams, and desires.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and of course, we get to see how some of these characters would have preferred their ideal life to be like. Yoko is a bit of a Yoko is a sniper slinging uh, vigilante badass. Um, I, it has been a very long time since I've seen this particular episode. I really do need to revisit this show. But
Yeah.
I forget what Simone's little pocket dimension is like.
He's sort of a thief with Kamina.
Oh yeah, yeah. He sort of goes like friggin' Lupin the Third with Kamina.
Yeah. But the thing is, this Kamina is not the well, of course, he's not the real comedy, but he is the sort of a dead Kamina, sort of in a way. He's a Kamina without pride.
Yeah, sort of a shallow. It's sort of what one would think a shallower version of Kamina would be in a different sort of show.
Yeah.
Like when he's uh like when this Kamina is put up against incredible odds, he doesn't try to muscle through it. He just backs down and is a complete wuss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. I'm sorry, let me kiss your feet. And Simone realizes this isn't right. This isn't the Kamina I know. This isn't the life that I know. Something is wrong here.
Yes.
And gosh, I don't know how to explain this next bit. Can you?
It's I think the the spirit
The
of the
spirit
real.
of the real Kamina breaks through,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the first time we've seen the actual Kamina since episode 8.
Yes.
So this is kind of like a big cheering moment for the audience
Yeah.
because we get to see our hero again. It's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire show. And I say beautiful in the way that something completely badass can be beautiful, but yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we see Kamina again, and he breaks Simone out of this, basically saying, "What's wrong? Where's your drill, kid?" His drill being uh,
The core drill.
the core drill, which is sort of at this point becomes a symbol of Simone's bravery and resolve.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically saying to Simone, "Where'd your balls go?"
Yeah. And
Simone is able to break out of this little pocket dimension and is able to
break everyone else out.
yeah, but before he goes, he kind of has this little man to man with Kamina. And there's this little line from Kamina that was actually brought up to me a few years ago, where Kamina and Simone stand next to each other, and Kamina just looks Simone up and down and says, "Since when were you taller than me?" It sounds like just a funny line, but it's a line that shows that Simone has actually become a bigger man than Kamina,
Yes.
and that Simone has grown to be even bigger than the person that Kamina was. And Kamina just kind of pats him on the back and sends him on his way. Breaks everyone else out of the Lotus Eater machine.
And we also learned one other thing there is that
Viral.
oh yes,
Yeah.
that it's like
Now in the series, it's it was explained that because Beastmen are genetically engineered, they cannot harness spiral energy, and as a result, they cannot have children.
mhm,
And in the Lotus Eater machine, we learn that Viral's ideal life would be to have a wife and kid.
yeah.
And it's a very brief scene, but it's a tearjerker.
Oh yes.
It's completely tragic. It adds a great level of tragedy to the character, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, and even so, it's not like he breaks down and cries. It's just like,
It's just like, well, this was fun
it,
while it lasted.
yeah. And then,
He knows what he has to do, and he goes and does it, which also shows the maturity of the character.
mhm,
He's not this petty glory seeker anymore. He's doing what's right.
yes.
And that also brings his character arc full circle. It's a
Mhm,
small scene, but it does bring his arc full circle.
yes.
There are so many great little character arcs throughout Gurren Lagann. It's
Oh yeah.
impossible to talk about all of them in just one episode of a podcast. It's one of the biggest things that I love about Gurren Lagann. All of
Yeah.
the characters have their own unique stories to tell.
Indeed.
And but of course they don't distract from the main story. They're weaved in there expertly, just absolutely expertly.
Yeah. And then after that, we get the final battle.
Yes, and this is probably the most awesome mecha fight ever.
And honestly, I feel that the word epic is
thrown
overused,
around thrown
valued.
around a bit much, but this is literally on a universal scale.
Yeah,
They
yes,
use they use they use entire galaxies as shurikens and stepping stones.
yes.
It's pretty ridiculous. The battle
And
takes place within this variable pocket, this extra variable pocket dimension,
mhm,
in which both sides can utilize both spiral and anti-spiral energy. And
and
and mind you, this isn't some sort of a secret battle that nobody knows is going on. Back on Earth, you can actually see this battle happening in the sky, and it is friggin' stunning. Um, and but of course, before the battle starts, Simon saves Nia. They this the entire Team Gurren that survived the uh, the anti-spiral death machine,
yeah,
um, just kind of stands up in front of him in this like friggin' line of soul. It's kind of like a soldier formation, and Simone delivers a badass speech, and everybody harnesses all the spiral energy they can muster to create the final form of Gurren Lagann, which is the name of the full show, Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan. Tengen
yeah,
Toppa translates to heaven piercing, which is what they fucking do. Uh,
yes. Because Simon's drill is the drill that pierces the heavens.
and of course, the anti-spiral kind of has his own pride that he works with, and he creates his own alternative. He basically creates a form you are uncomfortable with, which is a a black and purple anti-spiral version of Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan. And this battle, most of the fights in Gurren Lagann only happen for about only part of an episode.
Yeah,
The final battle of Gurren Lagann spans the entirety of episode 27.
Oh yeah, actually no, I don't think it's the entirety since.
Well, it spans like friggin' 15, 20 minutes.
Yes. Well, the thing is, I remember I saw the movie a
It's
short while
one
ago.
huge,
It takes about
crazy battle.
Yes, it's a crazy, and it's not like one of those shonen battles where it's like they scream for 5 minutes and then they explain their special attack and then they go into their backstory. No, this is full intensity for about 20 minutes to a half an hour.
Yeah, this entire battle is a full-blown clash of the ideals. The ideals of the anti-spiral. To quote, do you understand the severity of this situation? You get addicted to spiral power and grow drunk on it, and that is the path that will lead to your destruction. You don't understand. And then there's the ideals of humanity. No, you don't understand. You lock off all these other people like some sort people. It's like you lord all over all these other people, locking them away like you're some sort of king. That's nobody's fault but your own.
Yes.
And
the thing
it's not just hollow posturing. The speeches in the show aren't just hollow posturing.
Mm-hmm.
They serve a purpose to tell the story as well as showcase how far the characters have come.
Yes.
And the final battle between the anti-spirals and the humans, the Tengen Toppa fight, is just these two larger than life characters fighting against each other with these universal ideals. And of course, it's played up as big as it can be played up.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned the length of this fight was about 15 to 20 minutes. It's even longer in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I think in the movie it lasts about 35 to 40 minutes because they add on some extra stuff. In particular, Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan gets in the movie. Now, in both the show and the movie, the anti-spiral overpowers Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan, and they are on the verge of being completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And in both versions, they come back and they're able to do this final attack that completely annihilates the anti-spiral. In the movie, I think they made it even better because it shows, once again, true despair. Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan is completely demolished. The mecha that constitute Tengen Toppa are torn apart with sort of, I guess you could call it, blood pouring out. It's kind of it meant with the quote unquote blood meant to real of the fight.
Yeah.
Showcasing how powerful this character is and how screwed the main characters are. But in the movie, God, I love this scene so much.
Oh yes. In the movie, can I put it out?
Yes.
Everyone gets their own mech.
Everyone gets their own final form Tengen Toppa mech.
Yes.
Like, even Nia gets her own mech. That is awesome. Like, the moment I saw Nia in her own mech, I was just like, fuck, that's badass. Pardon my language again.
Yes.
But wow. but it was like insanely badass. And all these other characters, including Viral, who is unable to harness spiral energy. For some reason, he's able to harness enough spiral energy for a short period of time to actually create his own Tengen Toppa mech. And they all end up combining together to form Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan, which is this giant spiral energy being shaped like Kamina.
Yes. And yeah, you just have to watch that final episode.
The entire cannot do the final battle justice. It is something that needs to be seen to be believed.
Yes.
Like,
and after they've beaten the anti-spiral, and it's like I think it's like their final words like
in both the movie and the TV show, in order to finally destroy the anti-spiral, they do this one all or nothing attack where the mechs that take up Tengen Toppa Gurren Laggan, they basically they break apart and attack consecutively, trying to get closer to the anti-spiral home planet, which makes up the core of the anti-spiral gunman.
Yes.
In the show, it's Laggan that is Viral takes Laggan out of Gurren, throws it at the anti-spiral, and Simone uses his final attack with that, called Laggan Impact, which is basically the little drill that comes out of the bottom of Laggan, to kill the anti-spiral. But in the movie, of course, the anti-spiral is shown to be even more powerful. So Laggan, of its own accord, actually opens up its canopy, grabs Simone, throws Simone at the anti-spiral, and they just have this bare-knuckle brawl.
Yeah.
And God, it's kind of intense because there's blood flying everywhere, and the line work has become decomposed and sketchy, which conveys the intensity of the fight very well.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the fight, Simone creates a drill of his own blood over his hand, and then kills the anti-spiral.
And I'm thinking it's like the last. Well, actually, I was trying to. The anti-spiral's last words
were protect the human race, no matter the cost.
Yeah, this is
and again, what Simone says between the TV show and the movie differs.
Yeah.
In the TV show, he says, "Of course, humanity isn't that stupid." But in the movie, he says that, "Of course we will. You have to believe in us humans." Which kind of shows that Simone, in the movie version, it shows that Simone he definitely understands where the anti-spiral was coming from.
Yes.
Whereas in the TV show, it shows that he's still very much opposed to the anti-spiral's ideals.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer, from a sheer badass one-liner standpoint, the TV show version is better, but from a character development standpoint, the movie version is better.
And actually, I think that the movie version leads up better to the scene after, the wedding.
Yeah, because it's explained in both the TV show and the movie that Nia, being a product of the anti-spiral, cannot exist in a spiral universe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of this and at the end of the series, she basically she dies.
Yeah.
She uh she just kind of decomposes and poofs away shortly after she marries Simone,
Hmm.
like while they're still at like while they're still at the altar, mind you.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of sudden in the TV series, as it was just kind of stated after the fact that Nia's a spiral. Nia's not a spiral being. She is anti-spiral, so she cannot exist in our universe. But but in the movie, it was explained during the fight. And this is actually what kind of breaks Team Daigoren and allows the anti-spiral to overpower them. Uh, it's explained during the fight with Tengen Toppa that all this is explained, and of course it throws them into despair again, and that's what allows the anti-spiral to overpower them again.
Hmm.
Which again, it's a much better way of handling the story element.
Yeah. And then at the end, it's after that, Simon just walks the world.
Yeah, he gives the key to log on to Dari, and he just walks the world. Nobody knows where he goes.
Yeah, it's like get that like that final scene. Honestly, when I saw it in the movie, I,
Yeah.
I I just cried a bit. It's like you realize it's like ha- for a guy who saved the universe to realize that everyone he cared about either died or betrayed him,
Just a bit.
except for Yoko.
Yeah, Yoko still believed in him.
Yeah, but it's like and the thing is, it's like it's not like he was truly broken. It's just like it's like I pretty much put it as like that was pretty much one of the most powerful expressions of hope I've ever seen in my life.
Which scene was it again?
The final scene.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like to realize that even though Simon lost everything, that he wasn't truly broken. It's like
Yeah. He completed his mission. He got
yeah,
Nia back, and he saved humanity.
yeah,
But at the same time, he also lost Nia,
mm-hmm,
and he just kind of decides, my role here is done. You guys are on your own.
yeah. Well, I think on a slightly lighter note, they realized that to let Rasu run the government because of the Gurren Laggan cast, he was the only person even slightly suited to run the government.
Yeah, because he was kind of the voice of reason
Yeah,
for a lot of the show.
and the
Admittedly,
only one who could stand to the paperwork.
admittedly, his overall way of going about it was wrong, but he had
Hmm.
good ideas.
Yes,
His intent was good.
yeah. It wasn't the ultimate heroes, but it's like he was the only one who could stand paperwork.
Honestly, at the end of these sorts of shows, the one thing you just want most as a viewer is the absolute happiest ending possible. Everyone goes home, smiles all around. Gurren Lagann's unique in that it goes for a much more somber, uh, bittersweet ending.
Yes.
I'd compare it to a much earlier. Uh, I'd actually compare it very much to an earlier Gainax work, Gunbuster, which I saw
Yeah.
which I saw recently. Um, on a personal level, Noriko in Gunbuster kind of lost everything, but in humanity lived on because of what she did.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing for Simone, but nowhere near as personally depressing for him.
Yeah.
Um, because humanity was able to live on due to what he was able to do, but at the same time, he also lost everything.
Yes.
But it really does show that what kind of person Simone grew up to be. He grew up to learn that victory is not strictly personal.
Mm-hmm.
That uh, the best victories are the ones that uh, the best victories come with substantial loss, and he accepts that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly something that a lot of people can learn from, because a lot of people look at having any sort of loss as being a personal failure, but it's actually kind of a refreshing message that just because you lost something doesn't mean you didn't win something as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, when I saw Gurren Lagann, I was actually going through. I hate to make it personal, but when I saw Gurren Lagann, I was kind of going through a bit of a depression.
Mm-hmm.
And Simone, as a character, and the way he dealt with the aftermath of the fight, kind of inspired me a little bit back when I was younger to kind of make myself a bit of a better person overall.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite take anything, not quite take things too personally. Not to beat myself over the head with my own failures, that sort of thing. Simon is a very inspiring character.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out because that's just something that I got out of the show personally.
Indeed.
Honestly, the
And
best kind of shows are the ones that you can definitely take something out of and use it in your own personal life.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes Gurren Lagann great to me, because you can learn a lot from the character of Simon and how he grows over the course of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting. At the beginning of the series, you'd think that Kamina would be the main character, but nope.
No. But in the end, that is Garden Login. It is in both our opinions a true classic, and now something you should watch. I think we're about done with the episode.
Yeah. Gurren Lagann is definitely worth checking out. If you can, it is on Netflix and Hulu. On Netflix, it is in both Japanese and English dub. I know that the subtitled version is on Hulu, but I'm not sure about the dub.
Yep.
But if you want to check the show out, you can go to both of those places and check it out. It is a great show. And the movies are currently available on Blu-ray from Aniplex USA in a box set.
Yep. And and now, Kevin, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at CCharmanderK. That's Charmander the Pokemon with an extra C at the beginning and a K at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You can also hear me on uh, Otaku Midnight. We will be having a new episode this Tuesday. And at the beginning of this month, as I mentioned earlier, we had an episode where we had an interview with anime voice actress Kira Vincent Davis. She is best known as Osaka from Azumanga Daioh, Seiryu Ubiquitous in Akame ga Kill, and you can also you can listen to that on SoundCloud. Um, And I also am one of the people who runs the Otaku Midnight Twitter at otaku_midnight. And I should be having a new episode of Bakugaijin show in the next week. We're planning on making a new episode of Bakugaijin in the next week. We just need to figure out new topics.
Yes, you're the local butt monkey on Bakugaijin show.
Not by choice. Not by choice. Zeke just has really good zingers. But like Zeke is really good at making at figuring out put downs. That's something I definitely kind of respect him for it, but at the same time I hate him for it because he keeps using them on me. though at the same time I kind of open myself up to him. So
okay.
Not like I try.
Okay, so watch both Otaku Midnight and Bakugaijin show. I'm partway through the most recent Bakugaijin show, where he talks about Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, that's the second most messy. That is the weirdest and messiest podcast I have ever been on. Because half of it is us just memeing.
You will eat, and I'll eat the potato chip.
Ooh, nobody gives a shit.
Okay, and you can reach me, Jeckyllgeek, at Twitter at, let's see, currently what am I, at Jeckyllgeek on Twitter, or you can also talk to the Jeckyllcast in blog on Blogspot, where you'll find my writings. And this has been Jeckyllgeek, and I just want you to remember that the night is mainly made for things that you cannot say tomorrow day. And that's the show.